video stopped for some reason. Right, so let's give an example of two sofa companies, right? These two sofa companies are in competition with one another for profit, for market share. They're just in business in different lanes, trying to get a share of the pie, right? Now, if a commercial company is allowed to V2K anyone who ever enters the premises, anyone who ever uses a service or is interested in using a service, well, what happens then? What if let's go through that. We have two different companies with two different goals. I mean, they might have the same goal, but in two different directions. One company wants to make profit for themselves. The other company wants to take money from the other one and make profit for themselves as well. Right? So what happens when these two conflicting companies are V2King me? I'm getting two opposing thought processes entering my mind that I have to reconcile with, and then choose, right? But can't I just choose for myself without the extra? Do I need that extra process to be planted there? Not really. I have enough cognition to decide for myself, no? And then what happens when you have 20 different companies, or you're interested? I mean, you could really, if you start at the end and then sort of reverse engineer some of these processes of what's happening. I think a reason why this won't get traction, even though it's true, and it's true in the sense that it's objective reality. I got V2K'd and misled, and thoughts were planted and smeared, and all of this stuff I've been saying. Basically, all of this is objectively true. This isn't my perception. This is why it took me so long to make a video. This is a perspective reality of the scenario. I'm trying to not give as much perception as possible, even though there is crossover. So, the reason I think this won't get much traction is, firstly, I'm in the fucking UK, right? I'm in Wolverhampton, right? So when you take that into account, are privacy laws redundant? Are all privacy laws redundant? Because clearly in this scenario, yes, they are. Because I don't even have scope to take an action that is revealing, except for going on making some shitty fucking video of me basically rambling of a scenario. Now the whole process will be to obfuscate it and to say no, that's not happened, or no, it was for this reason or for that reason, and to divert attention elsewhere for something that is objective. So how many other people are being V2K'd, whether they know it or not, in the UK? Am I the only one? Probably not. I mean, I'd hope I am in a way, because I wouldn't wish this shit on my worst enemy. But am I the only one V2K'd, or are there plenty of people being V2K'd, but some are just not even cognizant? So, for example, you can have thoughts planted. So I went to the gym, or I went to the sauna yesterday, and I was just, like theory crafting. What the fuck is, what is the end goal of a V2K, or what is a likely outcome with V2K people, or just normal citizens, right? By these companies. And I got to talking with some dude about, so I didn't actually speak to him about the V2K, but then he asked me if I had the COVID vaccine. Spoiler alert, I got it to go speak to these fuckers in CS, and they didn't say anything. They just shut their mouth. They didn't want to, they didn't want to relay any information, even though it should be very clear that they were aware of the targeting and chose to shut their mouth about it. They chose to shut up about it. I've even messaged Richard Lewis, sent him the video, again, shut up about it. And I'm pretty sure the match tampering is still ongoing. So I spoke to him because I think a lot of these matches are being tampered with. Unless you can intercept the signal, which obviously I cannot, but I'm sure if it's a technology that was created, there must be, it's like the cat and mouse game. If there is a technology that can do this, there must be a technology that can prevent it or intercept it or to identify it, right? It's technology and it's a signal, so it must be possible. How? I don't know. So anyway, went to the sauna to go to the sauna because why fucking not? And I got to thinking, what is the aim of V2King certain people over others? Is it to make them more compliant? Probably. For example, when I initially got V2K, the very first time I was cognizant of it, and will someone have enough self-awareness to identify whether they've been V2K'd and thoughts are being planted versus their own actual thoughts? Because there is a distinction, right? You can distinct between when you think of something and when it is planted. And it's not always easy to do, especially if you have a large ego and you could say a lot of people do, and we all have an ego to some extent, right? So think about it like this. If a thought is planted and it is beneficial to you, a lot of people are going to want to say, you know what, that was my idea, because they want to take the credit for something that was positive for them. If it goes negative, you want to associate the V2K for that. Now, it's not, you still have to distinguish that. Actually, is this me considering the option, or is it someone else planting that and then leading me in a certain direction? And so it becomes a question of human autonomy. It's not a question of, are you giving me good advice or bad advice, even though that is a massive part of it, because most of this has been shit advice, leading me into a fucking destructive habit and tendencies that I just do not want to be fucking associated with. That's why I'm now going live being like, get the fuck off of your V2K, you fucking scummy, and you scummy rappers, fuck off. Admit reality, or sit on the fucking polygraph, which obviously you don't want to do. But it goes back to the point of autonomy. Should I have the right to think for myself and act for myself, or do I need assistance in it? And if I need assistance, should I be providing consent or not? Because in this case, there is no consent. We will give you assistance into the goals we want you to be like, and you have no choice in the fucking matter. Is that human autonomy that is suitable for you? You can make up your own minds. So the first time I got V2K'd, right, or the first time I was cognizant of it, was when I was at home. I was in the kitchen, and then I was walking back to my room, and then the first time a thought was planted, and I was like, did I just think that? That was like my first thought. I remember it clearly because this is like the starting point of this scenario. And then I go in and I open up a website for streaming. That streaming site is free. It's free. I won't name it right now, but I think it's VIPbox.com or something. I don't know, something along those lines, right? Maybe it's something VIPbox TV, VIPbox.co.uk. I don't remember. It's a free streaming service. I didn't use it, but they encouraged me to go on it, so I did use it. Went on it, and then so I think to not alarm me initially, they were talking through the phone or the laptop or I can't remember if it was a phone or a laptop, funnily enough. And then they started asking me questions about how sharp I was, how I could, which was odd, right? And in those initial stages, I thought it was an opportunity. Clearly it wasn't. So what ends up happening is they asked me to put on 2 tennis matches. It was Tsitsipas versus someone and John Isner versus someone. And then they were asking me my opinion on things. And then at certain points, it wasn't like a really engaging conversation. There was just asking certain questions at some points. And for example, there was a point where they asked about what was going to happen in a point with Tsitsipas, and he looked pretty gassed out, and it looked like he was going to lose the point. So I said it. That ended up occurring. Then now I don't know if this was priming or not, and how long they'd already been observing. And then they asked me, "What do you want?" I said, "To improve." I did not realize that if I said I wanted to improve, I wanted to get V2K'd and have my fucking head blasted with fucking sound signals of which I was not going to be told anything about, or even be given information about any of the scenario, and then just used to facilitate some dickhead rapper's income, or these idiot commentators from esports. It gave zero info, and all because I think they got a little bit salty that actually I was giving accurate information. Because one of the reasons why I think I may have been targeted is, firstly, I insulted the people that did a segment for Blast. I think it was the Blast Fall Finals in 2021, so really early on in the year, like January or something. And basically it was just a bookmaker segment where it was all hype, no substance. They was just talking waffle, giving bad information. I was like, holy shit, if people buy into this, they're gonna lose a lot of money, right? Because it was just waffle. And then I singled out a person individually. She happened to be female, so obviously that's a big fucking no-no in today's day and age. Anyway, I won't get into the politics of it, but called it out because I was like, well, this is all horseshit. If people actually listen to that advice and buy into some of that, they're just going to lose a bunch of money. And I said, this shit is garbage. Like, don't listen to it. And then shortly afterwards, that's when I got V2K. And then it was just ongoing, and it's been ongoing, and it's been ongoing, and it's still ongoing. Now, I think the Tates have info on this, and I want to know, why the fuck do you have info? How have you got it? Now, I like some of their messaging, I dislike some of their messaging. I think some of the things they've done, I mean, I would be throwing stones from a glass house in that regard, though obviously we're allowed an opinion, right? You don't have, if you agree with everyone on everything, or you agree with one person in totality, you're like in worship of this person, like, wow, bro, we're all human, you're not a god, which I know may shock some of you, but you're not gods. You might think you are, but you're kind of fucked in the head, that's why. You've been so pumped full of fucking arse licking that you can't actually differentiate between a real scenario and people just kissing your ass and being like, wow, Drake, you're so amazing, wow. Bro, you're not, you might make good music, and even now, at this point, I can't even listen to that shit because of what the fuck has happened. Where you just catch shit, and it's okay because you can't really steal an idea. You can build an idea, and I do believe in that sense. But then you can also give credit for the ideas, right? So that video for first-person shooter mode, right? The reason I'm mentioning this is, why the fuck would he make a song called first-person shooter mode? What the fuck? When the fuck does this guy get involved in esports? He doesn't. I was the one providing the pics, but I wasn't providing them for him. They just seized control of it. It's a completely different scenario in that regard. So they made this song with him and J. Cole, first person shooter mode. And it was a complete reference to me. Now, if you watch that video, there is a Drake puppet, right, sitting in the corner. And so this is a representation of when I worked at 4Trade in October. So I was on a team with a dude called Shaquille, a dude called Ennis. Poppy was the TL. Who else was on the team? Shit, who else was on the team? I think Laura was on the team. And I think there was someone else. I think I'm forgetting one other person, but hey ho. Sorry. I'm shit with names. And that scenario, and then when it goes to a table tennis, that's supposed to be a snooker table, but I don't think they wanted to make it too obvious, right? So that is a representation of me being a person. So why aren't you giving me credit for it? And I need fucking money at this point. I was supposed to do it for free for a year, right? For an opportunity. If the opportunity isn't there, you just say yes or no. Like, where is the decency? Like, where is the human decency, bro? Like, what is wrong with you? If it's not suitable, or you think I'm not ready, or this, that, generally speaking, when things like that happen, you say, okay, bro, like, yeah, like, but this scenario, can't do it now, or can't do it at all, or I don't think this is good enough, or, you know, you could give an objective reason, or not even objective, a reason for a yes or a no, and you could actually reply yes or no. It didn't happen. And then they just kept it on going. That, since I'm not getting that money, at this point, it was very fucking obvious, because clearly you actually, like, you have this whole image of, right, you do a lot of shit for other people and then they screw you and all of this. Clearly that's not the case. You screw a bunch of people and then you say, oh, look how fucking awful they are. You haven't done nothing for me at all. Nothing. Zero. You've done nothing for me. And I don't even know. Partially, that state contract you have, how much of it came from this scenario? I don't know. I can interpret it in such a way where maybe that's one of the reasons you got that contract in the first place. And it's a $100 million dollar contract, if I'm correct. What, you can't even provide even a 1% or even 0.1%. What, you can't do that? Man, get out of here, you fucking cunts. I'm posting this because this scenario, right, it's a regressive scenario. The longer time goes on, the less significance it will have. I'm just posting it because it's a reality. This is reality, whether you want to accept it or not. And I do not want my information misinterpreted by other people putting words in their mouth. I'm no fucking saint. I'm not perfect. I didn't even want to be famous. I just wanted I just wanted to get a better opportunity, and then I got fucking screwed for it by you lot. Like, you roadmen, rappers, whatever. Like, who gives a fuck? I don't really care, like, what you are, what your brand is, what you represent, this, that, or the other, right? It was primarily like a business function, and then you just screwed me for it. Like, well done, man. You screwed a semi-homeless guy. Well done, bro. Like, wow, what an awesome dude, right? Of course you don't want this shit being aired. And I didn't even want to go on the internet. But 3 years have passed, and you know what? This is more a reinforcement for myself to convince myself I am never going to fucking gamble ever again. Even though I was incredibly sharp, and I had, in 2021, I predicted every final correctly. From the Champions League, to when Djokovic beat Nadal on clay, to Wimbledon, to the snooker, to esports. It was like literally almost a flawless record, and it was just like astronomical numbers. It was a really good year in terms of that. How much of it was planted by the bookmakers? Who the fuck knows? And how much was it and how much of that process was actually regulated by the V2K as well? I don't actually know. I'm more suspicious now than ever that maybe they even V2K'd for certain results to occur. But here's the reality. That is in of itself the reality. And I'm saying this because I'm not gonna have you put words in my fucking mouth. And on top of that, if anything ever does come back later down the line, 5 years, 10 years down the line, I want it to be as transparent as possible about the actual ongoings. Like, there's a lot of shit I fucked up in. There's a lot of things I can take accountability for. no one's asked. I'll keep that internally for now because no one's asking me. Did I do everything perfectly? No. Was there a lot more things I should have been responsible about? Yes. Of course, bro. I'm only human. But when you make someone so much fucking money and they then screw you and then just take it down this road into mocking and this, that, and the other, bro, you're a clown. You're a clown that puts on a fucking mask to entertain people, bro. That's how I think of you now. Like, what else am I supposed to think? Anyway, gambling, forget it. Don't gamble, guys. Ever. Even if you become incredibly sharp, their whole process is to try screw you in any means necessary, and they have more at their disposal to do so than you do. And even if you make money doing it, put that money and invest it into something else, and then move away and transfer it into a different niche, different sector. Do not stick to this shit, because the longer you stick to it, the more information they get at you, the more likely they are to screw you, because the house actually does always win. Peace and fuck you.